You are in Grehagibney, the last townland in the parish of Lara. Waterloo developed from the time of Colonel Sanderson. Two young men called Pogue, he involved them in the Battle of Waterloo. They were in the front line, but miraculously they escaped. They came home. Sanderson provided them with a residence. They integrated with the local community so well that it became known as Waterloo. No matter how troubled you are or worried you are about something, if you go in that lane, go for a walk, and at the top of it, just stand and look around you, and you can appreciate nature to the best advantage. The hills, the hollows, the drumlins, the distant scenery, the panoramic views, and it lifts your mind from any troubles you have. You concentrate on what you're seeing. You know, if you're looking up towards Lough Crew, you begin thinking about, the time that they were established and all the rest, and was it fact or fiction, you've been told about it. You turn around, then you look down the other way and you see the mountain down that side. You try to imagine it being all covered in whins and heather and old muck in bygone times, and when you look at it now, you say, weren't our forefathers marvellous to be able to create this beauty for us to enjoy? There's peace of mind, and I think a lot more people should avail of places like that. We want them to come to Waterloo, but there are other places as well. I think it's great for your mental health to go out and concentrate and stand and look around you and appreciate what you see. Because I was reared with grandparents, they weren't people who travelled a lot, with the result that they developed an intense interest in their own area. This was passed on to us. So we developed great love and a great pride in our own area by listening to them. God rest their soul, they're all gone, but it was quite a busy little area. When you think you had the grouse hall stores, you had the blacksmith's forge, you had the post office, you had the creamery. Down there was the local thrasher. There were 13 shops on the route from here to Lavey Inn, which is about 6 kilometres in length. Now, some of them were actually in houses, in a room, because there was no transport that time, so you went and you got yours and you carried it home with you. All the shops are closed now, of course. As we go over the Ballygymsdorf Road, you come to a lovely twisty little turny up down lane. There's a beautiful old stone wall. You come to where the Mass Rock is. It was established in troubled times by the clergy because a priest at that time was forbidden to publicly say Mass. There's the Holy Well there, and still has the record of curing warts and skin diseases and a lot of stuff. You went there, you bathed your hand with water, and you left a personal item behind you. There's a real old stone building, and at the rear of it the river runs, and in that particular building was a father, mother and 8 kids reared. In bad times, it's an example of the type of building which existed, and it was a good one. If you want to see an example of a mud wall, there is part of the wall of a dwelling house which was constructed. What they used with the mud to make it remain and to stay in place all these years, it's just hard to comprehend. You proceed then, we'll say, if you're fit, up the next hill. You will look into a field there, and there's a lone bush, and there are certain pishrows or whatever you call them attached to these lone bushes. You didn't cut them, and it's there for quite a number of years, and nobody would cut a branch of it because it's supposed to be unlucky. And then you come to the viewpoint, which is on the very top of the hill. I think it's 550 feet above sea level, and from there you just can see a panoramic view of the countryside. A lot of people are struck by the way the road was made. It winds unusually left and right, uphill and downhill. But we must remember, at the time, there was no road. It was a dirt track. It was only the width of one person. But gradually they developed a little bit wider and a little bit wider, And now Cavan County Council have actually tarred the road and widened it, so great job. The old gates are the treasured property now. Nobody would part with them, and they're so ornamental, and that was done in bad times when there was no equipment like you have nowadays.
It's hard to visually represent a walkway because it's so much more than just a visual. It's a feeling you get when you're on the walkway. The mass rock is a really big part of this walkway. I want to maybe bring in a lot of different birds into this piece, and obviously the area itself is grouse hall, so I'd like to feature a grouse in there. I'm thinking the wren would be good, and the robin, because it's going to be a very Christmassy print, focusing on the Christmas Eve visual. A lot of the work was paved out for me when I arrived, really. Heather had done such beautiful poetry with the local people, and then walking with the people and just listening to them, like really all I had to respond to was what was already in front of me, and I really hope that it invites people in to look at these walks and see the depth of them and all that they have to offer.
My name's Heather Brett. I'm a writer and artist, and I live in Cavan for the last 30 odd years. And I got involved with this project through Anne-Marie Ward, the Heritage Officer in Cavan. And the idea behind it was to take something different out of the landscape. So what we decided to do was to have an artistic response as well as a poetic response. So we've got the words and the art, and together they make the landscape and that particular walkway come alive. I really enjoyed working with people who had never done poetry before, but they were trying to get a poetic sense of their walk. It's a beautiful space that is preserved through their enthusiasm. I love the idea that all the stories that they tell about the walkways, the people have been told by their relations in the past, and the people are extremely proud of their area.
A walk by way of Waterloo, the rise of green-sleeved la, of mossy banks and cuckoo's call, cheeky robins and the odd jackdaw.